Governor Phil Murphy on Friday announces that all students K through 12 and staff in New Jersey public schools must wear masks in September for the start of the school year. Just 2 weeks ago, the governor announced that school kids would be mask-free in September, but a rise in COVID cases forced him to change his mind. And just last week, you'll remember, President Biden mandated that all federal workers show proof of vaccination. And as Jersey Matters' Phil Andrews tells us now, Governor Murphy followed suit in New Jersey. Phil.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Delta variant of COVID-19 is dominant here in the Garden State, and as you would expect, that causes hospitalization and COVID-19 cases to rise rapidly.
So, with that in mind, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy took steps earlier this week to start mandating vaccinations for healthcare workers in New Jersey's private and public healthcare facilities.
This mandate will apply to all staff entering a healthcare facility or congregate living setting. This includes the Ancora, Greystone Park, and Trenton Psychiatric Hospitals, the Ann Klein Forensic Center, the Veterans Homes in Paramus, Menlo Park, and Vineland, all state developmental centers, state correctional and juvenile justice facilities and county-run correctional facilities, long-term care and assisted living facilities, acute care and specialty hospitals, short-term and post-acute inpatient rehabilitation facilities, and licensed behavioral health facilities.
Of course, the caveat here is that if workers chose not to get vaccinated, they would still have the option to get tested once or twice every week for COVID-19. But is that option really viable? Here's what Sue Collins of the New Jersey Coalition for Vaccination Choices had to say.
I think that if we are going to do testing, we should also be testing those who are vaccinated, because as we all know now with this new variant, we're finding that breakout cases, if you want to call it that, or cases among the vaccinated are also increasing. So I think you need to, kind of be testing everybody or testing when it makes sense. Obviously, if someone has symptoms that aren't feeling well, yes, test. I think people also need to be diligent, and if they're not feeling well, they stay home.
Now, Governor Murphy also suggested that privately owned businesses in the Garden State also consider vaccine mandates for their employees, much like some of these major companies across the globe who have implemented vaccine rules for employees returning to the office. However, is this process actually legal?
I believe as a matter of law, employers, both in the private sector and in the public sector, can mandate employees get vaccinated. I think it is absolutely within their managerial rights. And it was actually tested many years ago in 1905 in a case involving Massachusetts, where the U.S. Supreme Court held that that the state of Massachusetts, was able to compel its citizenry to get vaccinated for smallpox for health, safety, welfare reasons. They held it was part of the police power of a governmental entity.
By the way, the governor's office will still have to negotiate with several of the state's unions in order to find a resolution that makes sense for both the state and union members.
Now, Governor Murphy's goal is to vaccinate about 80 to 85% of Garden State residents. That would be about 7.9 million. At the moment, only 64% of the state has been fully vaccinated. For Jersey Matters, I'm Phil Andrews.
Thank you, Phil. Next on Jersey Matters.
Signing bonuses, 401ks, and other perks, you name it, are being handed out by businesses in New Jersey. Is that enough to compete with unemployment? Find out next, coming up on Jersey Matters.